and then share my video. Okay, yes. So this is communication ethics. So basically, we're going to look at how we communicate. So talk to each other. Most of you have had interpersonal communication, but we're going to look at ethics, which is like consideration of right and wrong, the right way to communicate and the wrong way to communicate. What is ethical? I'm going to define ethics for you just a little bit tighter in a moment. But first, I'll just tell you a little bit more about me. So I shared we moved here from Arizona about 3 years ago to Denver for my husband's job. I have been teaching for the last 16, almost 17 years at the collegiate level. I had my bachelor's of arts in arts. Actually, it's a bachelor's of science. It's in arts administration. So basically, I learned how to do all the business stuff and still do the fine arts on the side. I was a theater major. And then I went to ASU and got my master's in human communication. And I actually do have to tell people human communication because they're like, isn't all communication communication? And it is, but you'd be surprised how many people would take communication to extreme levels. So yes, I'm talking about human communication, that humans interact with each other. In this class, you're going to see a little bit about mass comm, which is like media and journalism. And that's another distinction between the field of communication studies and other types of communication. I also have 4 kids. I have a 16-year-old girl and 3 boys ages 13, 9, and 8, and I'm a homeschooling mama. So for those of you who are working parents, I'm right there with you doing this thing called life, and it's awesome. So my best advice is to keep your brain where your body is at all times. We always like want to be thinking about this, and oh, I need to do this, and oh, I need to do that. But the reality is we can't do anything about anything if our body's not actually there. So wherever you are, let your mind be there too and focus on the task at hand. That is an alarm going off in my house. So let me mute. So one moment. Okay, all done. Apparently something's going on in the kitchen, but I'm not there to deal with it. So okay, so let me just give you an overview of the course. The course is broken into 2 sections in weeks 1 through 4. Hang on. It's still going, so one moment. Okay, I think it's done. On the upshot, we all know, you're all witnesses that my fire alarms do work. Yes, wanted to know that today during a live class. Awesome. So, okay, weeks 1 through 4, we're going to learn systems for communication ethics. So this means we're going all the way back a couple hundred years, and we're looking at theorists, philosophers, and a lot more. So you're going to learn all about the Enlightenment, modernism, postmodernism, and some of those important players that lead us to where we are today. And while most of these guys are dead, they are prolific in the way that we understand our world today and the way that we communicate with each other. So getting that baseline knowledge is going to help catapult us forward into weeks 4 through 8, where we look at the application of communication ethics. How do we actually communicate ethically, considering these systems and everything that is inherently in our thought processes because of the world that we live in? So we will apply communication ethics to interpersonal, intercultural, and digital topics. You'll also cover a variety of other topics as a part of your textbook. Any questions about that? Kind of the overlay of the course? Okay, no. Okay, so yes, Let me just check my chat. Yeah, it isn't easy, that's for sure. But we're gonna get through it. I'm gonna give you some tools to do it, so it will get easier for you, Paula. So let's keep rocking and rolling. Okay, so in order to get through this course, announcements are key. So I rely on the announcements pretty heavily to push out information to you as long as text messaging. So every Monday, I'm going to post the overall objectives for the week. Sometimes I think when we look at the home screen and then we go and we look at the like the calendar with your other classes, I think it can get a little mismatched sometimes. So in the announcements, I lay out, okay, what do you really need to focus on for this week to give you a checklist? If you still want to use the home screen or other tools, of course, you're welcome to, but just make sure you're checking the announcements. In the announcements, I also have mini lessons. So each week I'll be posting sort of a more digested overview of some of the things that you're learning. So make sure that you check those out. And then for assignments, you're going to have an assignment due every other week. So they're kind of large assignments, kind of brain and writing intensive. So you're going to want to make sure that you start them when the calendar suggests that you start them, and then you finish them on time. So make sure you manage your time really well. And then just to talk about writing expectations. So if you had me in interpersonal communication, most of you had not yet had your English prereq, and it'd been a long time since you'd taken your high school English classes. So at this point, now that you're in the 300 level course, I am tightening up those writing expectations just a little bit. So I'm expecting you to write in an organized way, to take a look at your prompt and see how many questions are actually in the prompt. Use those questions as your topic sentences, rephrasing them. So if I said, what are the course expectations? You would say the course expectations are, and then work through your points, making sure that you are giving concepts, defining concepts, and providing examples. Do you have any questions about writing expectations? So if writing is hard for you, just really make sure that you follow that formula of topic sentence, concepts with definitions and examples. And then the best part about Bryan University that I love so much is that you can resubmit for mastery. So I can take a look at a rough draft if you want me to before you submit it for points to begin with, or you can submit it. I'll take a look at it, tell you where you need to work on things and improve them, and then you can resubmit for mastery. The way that I give feedback, and hopefully Paula remembers this from interpersonal, is I don't like beat around the bush at all and try to make you guess what you need to do. I'll tell you exactly what you need to do, exactly why you lost the points, and what you can do to do better. Does that resonate at all with anyone? Okay, good. And then finally, we have Yellow Dig, and it's so neat that you guys have been together since the beginning of your program, because you have relationship development that has come up. So make sure that you're getting into Yellow Dig. I'm really excited to see how your relationships are flourishing through being a cohort in the same program. And for those of you who aren't in this program, I'm expecting that you'll still continue to post and comment and build relationship. I find Yellow Dig to be an incredible networking tool to help you learn how to network and to cross different formats to continue to have conversation with people. But also when you're done with Bryan University, Yellow Dig might be that thing that gets you a job. You remember being in a class with someone has a job, someone's looking for a job, and then you see the same names. You're like, oh yeah, I went to school with them at Bryan University. They got a great education. I know that they're worth their stuff. So really utilize Yellow Dig. Also, again, communication ethics. These are concepts that don't have a hard black and white answer. There's a lot of gray area, which means there's a lot of fodder for a great discussion. So I'm expecting you to enjoy Yellow Dig and have fun with it too. I would never want Yellow Dig to be a burden for you, so I try to keep it fun and engaging. Any questions about course expectations? No? Okay, good. So before we get into some parts of communication ethics, I think it's really important to review the model of communication so we can remember what this process is that we're engaging in when we communicate with other people. How many of you have seen this model before? Paula, good. Anybody else? Yeah. Okay, good. Melissa has. Yes. Okay, good. So this will be a brief refresher. So in the model of communication, we always have someone who is the sender and the receiver, two communicators who are putting messages together in a way that they hope that the other will be able to understand. And then in doing so, we are co-creating meaning together, always trying to make sense of things, even something as simple as, what do you want to have for dinner tonight? So asking that question, we also have other contexts that are involved in that. The way that I ask my husband, what do you want to have for dinner tonight, is going to have a different impact on me than asking my children, what do you want to have for dinner tonight? So if I ask my husband, he's going to say something that, like, you know, probably has like a healthier feature to it. And we are like both in the decision making. So if I ask my kids, what do you want to have for dinner tonight? I'm not really caring what they say. Like I might, want to know, but at the end of the day, who has the final say on what we have for dinner? It's me, and to a certain extent, my husband. But if I'm the one who's cooking, or he's the one who's cooking, ultimately the cook decides, right? And then you have a cultural context. Well, like, where do we live? What kind of foods do we like to eat? What is appropriate to serve at dinner? What's appropriate in one family to serve for breakfast may not be appropriate for another family to serve for breakfast. So you can see how we have all these competing things that happen in communication, which is why we call it transactional. It's a constant process of give and take. And then we have noise, competing factors that try to break down the communication. And it's not malicious when I'm saying that. It's not like the fire alarm went off to try to disrupt our live event this morning, right? It just was one of those things that happened. It created some noise, some dissonance. So we had to pause for a second and wait for it to pass. So that's the communication model. And that informs also attitudes, beliefs, and values. So just here's some more background. So you're going to be coming up against some concepts in ethics that will be uncomfortable for you. And the reason they are uncomfortable is because they touch on core attitudes, beliefs, and values. And it's these things that make up the core of who we are that lead us to make decisions and communicate in the way that we do. So just as a brief review from some of your earlier classes that you may take, it kind of goes like this: values, beliefs, attitudes. So attitudes, think likes, dislikes. So I might love ice cream, but not like chewy candy. Okay, I might love the color blue, but not be so keen on yellow. And why is that? So for example, for me, like, I know that blue looks good on me. I've been told repeatedly that yellow is not my color, because much as I want to wear yellow, it doesn't go well with my skin tone. So I have an unfavorable disposition to yellow. Although I think it's darling. It can look very, very nice on some people, just not on me. Beliefs, this is the way we structure reality. So what is true and false? We can say something as simple as, I believe that the seasons are going to come. I structure my reality in the belief that we are always going to have a fall, a winter, a spring, and a summer. And that is based on historical coming up against always living through those seasons. That is my reality. It's probably your reality too, unless you live maybe in California, where you don't have, in California, you don't have all the seasons, do you, in certain geographies?
No, it's 9 months of pretty much fall and then 3 months of spring.
Yeah. And then in Connecticut, I mean, I guess you have kind of a summer, but it's mostly cold.
No, yeah, we have summer. Definitely we hit 90s, 95
Okay.
here. I mean, just but 2 weeks ago it was 86 degrees, and now this week it's been 50s and 60s. So sometimes the change is drastic.
Okay.
Yeah, Connecticut's a lot like Philly, even though we're 2 states away, but yeah.
Yeah. So, and then you live in that, and so you believe that's the way things are going to be. And then of course, in this class, you'll see some things about religion. Religion is a huge way in which people structure reality, what's true and what's false. And then finally, values, that is that stuff. These are all deep within you, but those core values, you develop those from early childhood. And this is your enduring concept of what's right and wrong, right? We're all taught very early, it's wrong to lie. We don't lie. We don't steal. It's wrong to murder. Things that are good and things that are bad. And all of these things influence the way you communicate ethically. So now let's just take a look at a few definitions that you're going to need to start this course. So the first definition is communication, right, is the transmission of messages. Ethics then is a system of moral principles. So this gets back to good and bad. If someone says that's completely unethical, it means that is completely wrong. That's not good. So in other words, ethics is an order of right or wrong concepts according to your foundations of truth. So the way you view something as being ethical might not be the same way that I view it as being ethical, because my foundation of truth may be different than yours, which you can see goes back to attitudes, beliefs, and values. That's why that's so important. So if we combine those things together, communication ethics then is the application of ethical thinking to situations involving human communication. So ethical thinking, right or wrong thinking in the transmissions of messages, creating meaning. And if you miss anything, this will all be posted, so you'll be able to go back and see the definitions. So in this class, throughout the entire class, you're going to be introduced to systems for reasoning, including character, duties, consequences, and relationships. So everything that we do is going to be founded on these systems and applying these systems: character, duty, consequences, relationships. So for the next few minutes, I'm just going to break these down for you, and then we'll be able to wrap up our first class. So let's take a look at character. So character are the virtues in practice that serve as a guide to ethical decisions. Woo, that's a mouthful. So whenever you see definitions or things in your text, you have to ask, what does that really mean? So let's take a look at virtues. What are virtues? Does anyone know? Beliefs, yeah. Virtues can be beliefs. Can you elaborate at all on that? What kind of beliefs? And you can pull out your phone and Google real quick too. Go ahead, look it up. What are virtues?
Could it be not like religious beliefs?
Yeah, they can be. So these are things in practice. So virtues, yes, religious beliefs. So if you have, let's say, what sorts of beliefs would lead you to act virtuously? So what are those things?
Well, with
Could it be something? I'm sorry. Could it be something that you're passionate about, possibly?
It could be. So okay, let's term it in a different way. You're looking for someone to open a box gym with. What sort of virtues or character qualities are you going to be looking for someone to go into business with?
Their morals.
Their morals. Okay, like what?
Like
honesty, Christian.
they had high integrity.
Yes, there you go. Now you're getting it. Morals, their ability to be, are they responsible? Are they loyal? Do they have integrity? Do they keep their word? Do they do what they say they're going to do? So these are the things. So we could change out virtues and put, like, say, honesty. Honesty in practice for a guide to ethical decisions, right or wrong decisions. Loyalty in practice as a guide to ethical decisions. So that's what character entails. So we will be looking at some things through the lens of character. And we have 8 weeks to do these systems. So by the end of the 8 weeks, they're going to come just like that for you. Okay, now duties. Duties is a set of universal rules that are unchanging and based in divine command or human nature. So this goes back more concretely to beliefs. So what are universal rules? These would be rules that everyone follows. So what are some of the rules that we all adhere to? Think about stoplights. Law.
About to be kind.
To be kind. Is that what you said?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, so we all try to be kind. We aren't always kind. That might go more towards character. So when I'm thinking about rules, I am thinking more about laws. So these are duties. So you have a duty to stop at a red light. You have a duty to go at a green light. What is your duty at a yellow light? You have got 2 options. What are they?
Keep going.
Hit
Go
the
or stop.
gas, man, or stomp on those brakes, but make sure no one's gonna rear end you because people drive crazy. Yeah, we have some of us, a universal rule might be to going back to don't lie. Don't murder. We can all agree that murder is wrong. It is a law. You will go to jail if you kill someone, unless you have a really good attorney. So these are duties. Okay, so we're gonna look at through the lens of duties. Then we're gonna look through the lens of consequences. And this is more like the outcome of behavior for the majority is what determines the ethical course of action. So we are going to look specifically at utilitarianism, egalitarianism, and social contracts. So if those words just fly over your head for right now, or they scare you, don't be scared. If you don't understand them, it's okay. Just let them float over you. And that's what a lot of this class is. You'll read something, let it wash over you, go back and read it again. Let it wash over you until you start to get it and understand. But consequences would be like, I have to make a decision to do A or B. And when I weigh the pros and cons, the consequences are more favorable for everyone or for the majority if I choose B. So some people might still have bad or negative consequences from choosing B, but the majority do better with B. Does that make sense? Okay. And then finally, relationships. So this is how the relationship between the individuals are affected by their communication behavior. And towards the end of the course, I think you're going to really enjoy learning about dialogical ethics. It's the give and take between people that determines how we communicate and what the right course of action is. So again, those 4 systems are character, duties, consequences, and relationships. And we're going to be looking at these over and over again. So that is basic course overview and some opening concepts to get you going. If you need to talk to me or call me, you can call me Kim. Kimberly is in all my legal stuff, but Kim works just fine. This is my text number. By now, you should have all received a text message from me. And the text messages are important because it's a really quick way to communicate with you. You'll often see, I won't ask you to give me like a long-winded text back to explain anything. Sometimes I like to do just send me your favorite emoji or give me a thumbs up, just so that I know that you saw it. And then we are like, okay, good to go. My email is there. And then of course, Canvas inbox. I can't stress enough that this course is great. It can be a little frustrating just because the concepts, they're big words, they're dead philosophers, and it can feel a little overwhelming, but just bear with me, walk with me, let me walk alongside you. answer the questions in the formula that I gave you, and it will all start to come together. And if you need any help or tutoring, you're not understanding something, please reach out to me and let me help you. I'm in your corner, and I want to see you pass this course, and I want to see you get a 100. I mean, I would just love, how awesome would it be if every single person, 30 people in this class, walked away with 100? And they'd be like, did you bloat your grades? And I'd be like, no, they did it. And it was awesome. Any questions before I let you get on with your morning? No? Okay, thank you so much for your time. Have a great week, and I'll look forward to visiting with you over on Yellow Dig.
Thanks, you too.
I
Bye.
Thank you.